The night swallowed the cruise ship, and a sense of unease clung to the air. The moon hung like a silver sliver in the cloud-covered sky, casting an ominous glow on the deserted decks. I, along with the remaining passengers, had been unaware of the silent killers that lurked in the shadows. A coven of vampires that had claimed the crimson horizon as their nocturnal hunting ground. The ship's once vibrant atmosphere had shifted, as if a malevolent force had taken control. I wandered the dimly lit corridors, a sense of foreboding tightening its grip with each echoing footstep. Unbeknownst to me, the predators watched, their predatory eyes glinting in the darkness. As I approached the grand ballroom, the decadent heart of the ship, a soft murmur reached my ears. I hesitated, the sound both alluring and disconcerting. The ballroom, once a haven for celebration, had transformed into a chilling tableau. The remnants of a party lay scattered, half-empty glasses, discarded masks, and a lingering air of decadence. The murmur intensified, becoming a haunting melody that beckoned me into the lair of the nocturnal hunters. A hypnotic pull drew me toward the grand ballroom, my senses tingling with an otherworldly energy. The doors creaked open, revealing a surreal scene, a coven of vampires, their eyes aflame with an insatiable thirst. In the flickering candlelight, the vampires danced with their prey, a grotesque masquerade that blurred the lines between life and death. The bitten passengers moved in eerie unison, their eyes vacant, as if ensnared by a dark enchantment. Panic surged within me as I realized the true nature of the party, an unholy feast where the living became sustenance for the undead. The vampires, their fangs bared in predatory delight, turned to face me. A predatory hunger glowed in their crimson eyes, and a chorus of unearthly hisses filled the ballroom. I stumbled backward, but an unseen force rooted me to the spot. The vampires closed in, their movements graceful and deadly. As the first vampire lunged, I evaded its grasp, my heart pounding in terror. The once celebratory ballroom became a battleground, the dance floor stained with the blood of the hunted. I sprinted through the ship's corridors, the echoes of pursuit haunting my every step. The ship had transformed into a nightmarish labyrinth, each turn leading to another encounter with the undead. The vampires, relentless in their pursuit, seemed to materialize from the shadows, their predatory grace defying the laws of the physical world. Desperation fueled my escape as I navigated the deserted decks, the moon above bearing witness to the silent struggle between the living and the damned. As I reached the ship's upper deck, the chilling sea breeze greeted me. The moon cast its cold light on the turbulent waters below. The vampires, undeterred, emerged from the ship's interior, their eyes fixed on their prey. The abyss below seemed a preferable fate to the clutches of the undead. I climbed onto the ship's railing, the cold metal biting into my trembling hands. The vampires closed in, their eyes ablaze with hunger. In a final act of defiance, I leaped into the unforgiving embrace of the ocean below, the frigid waters swallowing me whole. As I sank into the abyss, the vampires watched from the ship's edge, their silhouettes framed by the moonlit night. The icy depths embraced me, and the haunting melody of the nocturnal hunters faded into the distance. The crimson horizon, now a vessel of the damned, sailed through the night, its vampiric inhabitants sated, but hungering for the next unsuspecting prey. The ocean, a silent witness to the horrors that unfolded aboard the forsaken ship, swallowed my struggles in its dark embrace. The moon hung in the sky, indifferent to the terror that lurked beneath the waves. The crimson horizon sailed on, its haunted decks bearing witness to the dance between the living and the undead, a macabre waltz that unfolded in the shadows of the night. The abandoned cruise ship loomed like a ghostly specter in the moonlit night, its once grand exterior now battered by time and neglect. I stepped onto its desolate deck, a lone adventurer seeking to unravel the mysteries that whispered through the salty breeze. Little did I know that the haunted echoes of the ship's past would soon grip me in a suffocating embrace. The air felt thick with an unnatural stillness as I ventured deeper into the vessel, the creaking of rusted metal echoing in the hollow corridors. The flickering light from my flashlight cast eerie shadows that seemed to dance along the walls, creating an unsettling waltz of darkness. The ship, abandoned by both time and humanity, seemed to harbor a secret yearning to be uncovered. The first whispers reached me as I descended into the bowels of the ship, a disembodied murmur that reverberated through the abandoned hallways. I strained to make out the words, but the spectral voices remained just beyond the grasp of comprehension. My unease heightened with each step, the oppressive silence broken only by the unsettling echoes of unseen conversations. As I entered the grand ballroom, the heart of the forsaken vessel, a spectral glow bathed the room in an otherworldly light. The once elegant space now hosted a macabre tableau, a frozen dance of spectral figures, their ethereal forms twirling in eternal grace. The haunting whispers intensified, the disembodied voices seemingly emanating from the very walls of the forsaken ballroom. The ghostly dancers turned towards me with hollow eyes, their silent invitation urging me to join their spectral masquerade. Panic gripped me as I stumbled backward, but an invisible force drew me closer to the otherworldly waltz. The ship itself seemed to echo with the haunting cadence of a bygone era, trapped in a melancholic dance of time. As the ghostly figures closed in, the whispers grew more distinct. Fragmented tales of joy and tragedy intertwined in a spectral symphony, narrating the ship's tragic history. I recoiled as the voices reached a chilling crescendo, the grand ballroom pulsating with the spectral energy of the forsaken vessel. In a desperate bid to escape the haunted dance, I navigated through dimly lit corridors, each step echoing the relentless pursuit of unseen forces. The ship itself seemed to conspire against me, its dilapidated interior twisting and contorting as if guided by the hands of phantoms. The whispers followed me, their haunting presence weaving through the abandoned cabins like a shroud of sorrow. Shadows danced along the walls, their silent movements hinting at the specters that lingered just beyond the veil of the material world. The ship had become a purgatory of lost souls, their whispers an eternal lament that echoed through the desolate corridors. As I reached the upper decks, the moon cast an ethereal glow on the abandoned ship. The whispers subsided, replaced by an unsettling silence that settled over the vessel like a shroud. My breath caught as I glimpsed a lone figure at the ship's helm, a spectral captain, his gaze fixed on the endless horizon. The phantom captain turned towards me, his hollow eyes meeting mine. The ship groaned and shuddered, caught in the throes of a supernatural tempest. The wind carried the haunting whispers into the night, a mournful requiem for a vessel trapped in the purgatory between the living and the dead. In a flash, the ship seemed to dissolve into a spectral mist, leaving me standing alone on the moonlit deck. The whispers lingered, a spectral echo of a bygone era. The abandoned cruise ship, now lost to the depths of the supernatural, had unveiled its haunting secrets, a tale of lost souls condemned to dance through eternity in the forsaken ballroom of the spectral vessel. The once lively cruise ship, Aurora Serenity, had become a floating graveyard in the vast expanse of the ocean. It vanished from radar screens, disappearing without a trace. I found myself aboard a rescue vessel, part of a team dispatched to uncover the mystery of the silent ship adrift in the darkness. As we approached the ghostly silhouette on the horizon, a shiver ran down my spine. The Aurora Serenity sat adrift, its grandeur now eclipsed by an eerie stillness. The rescue boat nudged against the lifeless behemoth, and I clambered aboard, my footsteps echoing through the haunting emptiness. The ship's interior was plunged into darkness, broken only by the weak beams of our flashlights. A pervasive silence hung in the air, as if the very walls held their breath, waiting to reveal the secrets that lingered within. The ship's abandonment felt unnatural, as if time had stopped within its corroded halls. As I explored the deserted corridors, a sense of foreboding settled over me. The abandoned belongings of passengers lay scattered, frozen snapshots of interrupted lives. The ship's interior seemed to absorb our presence, the quietude unnerving in the absence of the usual hum of human activity. We reached the grand ballroom, a once vibrant space now swallowed by shadows. The remnants of a celebration remained. A lone champagne glass, a crumpled party hat. The air felt heavy with an unspoken tragedy, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone. The ship's intercom crackled to life, emitting a distorted whisper that sent shivers down my spine. Indistinct words slithered through the speakers, a spectral chorus that seemed to echo through the desolate halls. As we strained to decipher the haunting message, the air became charged with an otherworldly energy. A sudden chill filled the ballroom as the temperature plummeted. Our breaths hung in the frigid air, and the ship's surroundings seemed to warp and twist. Shadows danced along the walls, their movements disjointed and unsettling. Panic set in as the once familiar space transformed into a nightmarish realm. In the flickering light, I glimpsed figures that flickered in and out of existence, ghostly apparitions frozen in the midst of a spectral dance. The whispers intensified, the disembodied voices weaving a haunting narrative of a ship lost in time. The Aurora Serenity had become a vessel for the restless souls, trapped in a purgatory of perpetual celebration. As we ventured deeper, the ship revealed its spectral secrets. Cabins held traces of unseen inhabitants, the indents on untouched beds, the lingering warmth of a spectral presence. The ship's interior seemed to pulse with an ethereal energy, a heartbeat of the supernatural. The rescue team dwindled in numbers as an unseen force toyed with our senses. Shadows elongated and contorted, taking on grotesque forms that seemed to reach out from the very walls. The whispers became a cacophony, the ship's haunting narrative escalating to a fevered pitch. In the heart of the vessel, we stumbled upon a forgotten theater, a place where the spectral drama unfolded. The stage held phantom performers, frozen in the midst of an unseen play. The audience, ethereal and intangible, gazed from their spectral seats. The air thrummed with an eerie tension as the disembodied voices crescendoed. A blinding light enveloped us, and the ship seemed to convulse. The very fabric of reality unraveled as the Aurora Serenity became a vessel for the supernatural. The whispers transformed into anguished cries, and the ship itself seemed to wail in despair. In the blinding brilliance, I glimpsed faces of the lost, passengers and crew forever entwined in the haunting narrative of the ship. Their eyes bore witness to an eternity of spectral celebration, a twisted masquerade frozen in time. As the light faded, we found ourselves back on the rescue boat, the Aurora Serenity looming in the distance, now a silent sentinel on the ocean. The whispers echoed across the water, a chilling reminder of the ship's spectral secrets. The rescue mission had unraveled a tale of a cruise ship lost to time, its passengers forever trapped in a macabre dance between the living and the dead. The cruise ship, named Eternal Horizon, sailed under the moonlit night, its towering silhouette gliding through the calm waters of the ocean. Laughter and music wafted from the crowded decks as passengers reveled in the luxurious escape. Little did we know that the seemingly idyllic voyage would soon plunge us into a nightmarish abyss. As the night wore on, a mysterious tension gripped the air, overshadowing the carefree atmosphere. I found myself drawn to the deserted corridors, a whisper of unease urging me to explore the ship's hidden corners. The hum of distant engines seemed to echo a haunting melody beneath the surface of the merriment. The ship's labyrinthine corridors led me to a forgotten section, a dimly lit passage where shadows danced in eerie patterns. The air grew heavy with an unspoken dread, and the laughter from the crowded decks above became a distant memory. A sudden chill ran down my spine as the ship's interior seemed to morph into a haunted maze. A soft murmur reached my ears, indistinct yet unsettling. It echoed through the narrow hallway, a spectral chorus that transcended the mundane sounds of the ship. Each step brought me deeper into the foreboding heart of the Eternal Horizon, where the air became thick with an otherworldly energy. As I turned a corner, I stumbled upon a sight that froze my blood, a gathering of hooded figures engaged in a macabre ritual. Their faces concealed, the figures swayed in rhythmic unison, their haunting whispers weaving a dark tapestry in the air. The corridor seemed to pulse with an ominous force as I watched, paralyzed by the surreal scene before me. The figures turned in unison, their eyes hidden beneath the shadows of their hoods. Without words, they beckoned me to join their spectral dance. Panic set in, but an unseen force compelled me forward. As I stepped into the circle, the haunting whispers grew louder, their spectral cadence vibrating through my very being. The ship's interior seemed to warp and contort, the boundaries between reality and nightmare blurring. The once familiar corridors became an otherworldly realm, a nightmarish dance floor bathed in an unholy glow. The passengers above, oblivious to the dark ritual unfolding below, continued their revelry. As the ritual reached its crescendo, the hooded figures parted, revealing a gaping maw in the ship's floor. A sickening realization dawned upon me. The eternal horizon held secrets far more sinister than the eyes of its passengers could perceive. The whispers reached a fever pitch, a dissonant symphony that heralded the descent into the abyss. Without warning, the figures lunged at me, their hands cold and clammy. I fought against their spectral grip, the haunting whispers now a cacophony that threatened to shatter my sanity. In a desperate bid for escape, I stumbled backward, narrowly avoiding the gaping maw in the floor. The ship groaned and shuddered as if awakening from a malevolent slumber. The once stable decks now tilted at unnatural angles, and panic swept through the passengers above. The revelry turned to chaos as the ship itself seemed to rebel against the dark forces that had been unleashed. I fled through the disorienting corridors, each step a desperate attempt to escape the nightmare within the eternal horizon. The haunting whispers pursued me, echoing through the twisted passages as the ship groaned and creaked under the strain of unearthly forces. As I burst onto the crowded decks, I was met with a scene of chaos. Passengers screamed and scrambled for lifeboats, their eyes wide with terror. The ship listed dangerously, caught between the clutches of the supernatural and the unforgiving sea. In the pandemonium, I glimpsed the hooded figures on the fringes of the chaos, their ghostly forms fading into the shadows. The whispers lingered, a haunting echo that reverberated in the air. With a final mournful groan, the eternal horizon succumbed to the unholy forces within, disappearing into the inky depths. I clung to a lifeboat, the survivors casting wary glances at one another. The once luxurious cruise had become a harrowing ordeal, a tale of a ship that sailed too close to the edge of the supernatural. As we bobbed on the unforgiving waves, the echoes of the haunted ritual lingered, a chilling reminder that the boundaries between the earthly and the supernatural could unravel in the darkest corners of the sea.